I'm recording this, so I got to make sure I'm recording. So yesterday I said something about purgatory. Okay. I stand so corrected. And I spent an hour and a half delving into it. Okay. Because, and actually the group of men that started this Bible study, that they have a thread where they talk every day, and I talk to them about it. And I'm going to read what someone I admire so much said. Now, I'm not Catholic. My children grew up Catholic in a Catholic school, but purgatory, if I'm understanding right, is pretty much a denominational thing. And so saying that, and I apologize, but I asked the question, what was purgatory? And this guy that I respect so much said it simple. He said that is a demonstrable question, which I think for the purpose to avoid any question specific to the Bible verse passage, I think we should address and encourage. If we start with nominational questions, we give way for the devil to break out what we are trying to learn and split the group. Mostly their denominational is correct. So discussing denominational differences outside the group. But the short answer is Catholics think yes, there is a purgatory. The Christian faith tells us that there is a heaven and a hell. Okay, so I thought that it was super important that I correct myself, because the last thing, and I'm telling you, I felt so bad yesterday because I put something so wrong out into the world. And that's the last thing that I want to do. I don't want to mislead anybody. So I apologize for that.
Randy, I got something they can read up on that. If they go to Luke chapter 16, verses 19 through 31, it's Jesus telling about the rich man and the beggar. That is one of the verses in the Bible that sums it up to me, that, there's only a heaven and a hell, and, they can go read that out on their own, because I know you're under a time constraint. Luke 16, 19 through 31.
19 through 31.
Yeah.
So as we get started today, Aunt Debbie, I just wanted to correct that because I had put the wrong thing out there. So forgive me. And Debbie, if you're going to talk, you got to hit that little red button.
Well, that's what we're in here for, learning. I mean, there's no apology for you to say, because this is what it's all about. We're learning.
I just,
I'm Assembly of God, and so but it don't matter. We all love God.
That's exactly right. So today we're going to be reading Matthew 13. And today we're going to start learning a lot of parables. And the thing about a parable, if you don't read the Bible and you don't do what kind of like we're doing, you can stand out there and say these things happened. And me and my son, who, once again, I say a lot of times, he's got a lot more knowledge than I do. I'm so proud of him. But the parable of the father and the son, he has two sons. He gives his wealth to his one. He goes off and gets him some girlies and gets him some drink and has a good time, spends it all, and comes back to the father. And the father's so happy to have him back, and because he was sleeping with pigs and eating slop and all that. So about a month and a half ago, that was a conversation. Huh?
That's the prodigal son.
Prodigal son. So that's exactly right. Well, so that came up in a conversation. And you got to understand something about me. If I believe something, it just kind of touched me think something different. I thought that would actually happen in real life. And so my son schooled me on that it was a parable. So hats off to him. So today we're going to talk about Jesus starts talking to them and teaching them in parables. Now, as I was reading yesterday and getting my pre-read on, it was pretty good stuff. So let's get right into it. and thank everyone for being here this morning. Matthew chapter 13, and this is the New International Version. The same day Jesus went out into the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him and he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell on the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil and sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among the thorns, which grew up and choked out the plants. Still other seed fell on the good soil, where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. Okay, so let's touch that one real first. Does everybody, and I didn't really grasp it, but basically the farmer is Jesus Christ. And he's out teaching us, okay? We're the seeds, okay? Our growth is based on, if we follow beaten paths, we receive the word, but it doesn't grow. We're grateful that day, but our actions don't show it. Okay.
I got something on that real quick.
Go ahead.
Human ears, as we all know, everybody hears. You could say something in 10 people, they're going to hear something different, even though you only said it one time. But they're going to be 10 different people that says, that ain't what he said this. Okay. But when Jesus was speaking in parables, he was not hiding the truth from seekers, because those who were receptive to spiritual truth understood the illustrations. To others, they were only stories without meanings. So, I mean, basically everybody, if you're seeking the truth, I mean, the Bible is the only book in the world that is 100% true. So if you're seeking the truth and it comes from the Bible, it's the truth. If it comes from, some other preacher, I'm going to say in quotes, I'm not saying that preacher is not telling the truth, but if you're not understanding or don't understand exactly what that preacher's saying, go to your Bible and find out exactly. Just for instance, like yesterday, if you research the Bible, if it's in the Bible, it's the truth.
That's right.
And I researched that, because you got false prophets out there and people that insert their thoughts and what they think is what the Bible's saying, but it's not. So
it's really pretty clear.
Everybody in this group is if you have a question, go to the Bible.
Absolutely. And I think that, Randy, that's kind of what happened to me was, I'm searching, and I keep hearing it over and over again. It's what you said, that if you read the Bible, and I've never made time for the Bible, I'm making time today, but that if you make time for the Bible, it will be revealed to you through the Bible, through the readings of the Bible. So in chapter 10, the disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has, going back to what Randy said, whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Through seeing, they do not see. Through hearing, they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For this, people's hearts has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes and hear with their ears, understand with their hearts and turn, and I will heal them. And David, that goes back to you yesterday, speaking about the heart. But blessed are the eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, listen to this, people. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. There goes that word fruit again. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 160, 30 times. So that goes into telling you right there. He tells us right there what it means in that parable. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed seeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seeds in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" And an enemy did this, he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At the time, and I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in the bundles to be burned, then gather the wheat and bring it to my barn." He told them another parable. So let's talk about that parable real quick. After my studying and reading, that's all about the second coming of Christ. Okay. And in my understanding, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, my understanding is that the weeds are the deceitful, I like to say bad people. Okay. Let me just say it that way. The wheat is God's children. It is people trying to live more like Christ and so forth, that nature. And whenever he talks about his harvesters, the harvesters will be the angels when they come back to earth and set fire and brimstone and all that. And I think he's going to talk about it here a little bit later also. But that parable is all about that. And we're all, and I thought when I read that yesterday, I was thinking, hell, that's kind of like what's going on today. There's a lot of bad stuff happening in our world. You know, I just don't, I'm not one of these guys that think that tomorrow's going to be the end of time. But listen, God's got all that. I don't got to worry about all that. He's got all that. So that kind of touches that one. So he told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it's the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds can come perch in its branches. He told them so another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough. Jesus spoke all these things to crowds in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. Randy, because of what you said, now I even understand this even more, that he was saying it because the people that were following him would truly understand what he was saying. And the unbelievers would just hear these and question. So thank you for that. Then, so was fulfilled what was, Jesus spoke all these things in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. So was fulfilled that was spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world. Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came into him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the people of the kingdom. The weeds are the people of the evil one, and the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are the angels." There goes that what I was talking about a second ago. He just explained to them what it was. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be at the end of age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out everything that causes sin and all who do evil. They will throw them into the blazing furnace. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it he hid it again, and then his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. That one kind of lost me there. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in the field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then his joy went and sold, and then in his joy went and sold it all he had and bought that field. So let's come back to that in a second. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one great value, he went away, sold everything he had, and bought it. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up in the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the blazing furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Matthew 51. Have you understood all these things? Jesus asked. Yes, they replied. He said to them, Therefore, every teacher of the law who has become a disciple in the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of the house who brings out the storeroom new treasures as well as old. When Jesus had finished these parables, he moved on from there. Coming to his hometown, he began teaching the people in their synagogue, and they were amazed. Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers? They asked. Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother named Mary? And aren't brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all this knowledge? And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor except in his own town and his own home. And he did not do miracles there because of their lack of faith. There goes that word faith again. So that was Matthew, and I wanted to go back to that. Anybody got an opinion on that? In Matthew 4, where in 44, it says, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field."
I'll just give you what my subnotes say. The kingdom of heaven is more valuable than anything else we can have. And a person must be willing to give up everything to obtain it. The man who discovered the hidden treasure in the field stumbled upon it by accident stumbled upon it by accident, but he knew its value when he found it. Although it cost a man nothing because it came with the field. It came free. Nothing is more precious in the kingdom of heaven, yet God gives it to us as a gift. So basically, just, it was free to him because he bought the field, but he didn't, well, I look at it is he didn't give up anything to obtain that,
I couldn't understand why he hid it. Because I want to share it. I want to share it. So I couldn't, I still don't, and I'm going to get deeper into that today in my own time, but because I don't understand why he hid it. I understand the part about giving away everything, and I grasped that he had to put everything down, sell everything so that he could have that. and everything. So at the end of there, we use the last word in that chapter is faith. Okay, so we move on to chapter 14. Anybody would like to read that?
I can't, Fred, but I'm gonna have to drop probably here in just a little bit because it's 7:30. I got a business
Hey.
meeting.
I love you. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna stay on till the last minute, but
Okay, sounds good. And Debbie, you want to read it? Gotta hit your button. Gotta hit your red button.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, chapter 14. At the time,
There you got something
Earl,
wrong with your speaker.
do what?
You got something going on with your microphone. Are you on your phone and computer?
Yeah, I got two going here, man.
There you're good now. You're good now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. At the time, Harold the something Petrus heard the report about Jesus. And he said to his servant, hold up, I gotta get
Hold on, Aunt Debbie. We've got a real bad back echo. So either you've got two things going and it's recording it on both of them. So it's causing you to say things twice.
Okay, I'm turning this off so that, hold up.
Make sure you don't put that football program away. It's in your truck.
Okay, is that better?
No, ma'am. I'll go ahead and do this one and we'll figure it out so that tomorrow you've got, no, you're gonna be reading tomorrow, but just have just one of them on, okay?
Okay.
All right. So chapter 14. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the reports about Jesus, and he said to his attendants, "This is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead. That is why miraculous powers are at work in him." Now Herod had arrested John and bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of the people because they considered John to be a prophet. On Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias danced for the guests and pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." The king was distressed, but because of his oaths and dinner guests, he ordered the request. Back in those days, if you said something in an oath, it was, you did it. That's just, your word was everything. You don't see that a lot today, but back then it was everything. And the request was be granted and had John's head beheaded in the prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. John's disciples came and took his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." We've all heard this one. "We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them to me," he said, and he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side. While he dismissed the crowd, after he just had dismissed them, he went up on a mountain by himself to pray. Later that night, he was alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." "Lord, it is you," Peter replied. "Tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." When they had crossed over and landed at Gennesaret, and when the men of that place had recognized Jesus, they sent word to the surrounding country. People brought their sick to him and begged him to let the sick just touch the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. Okay, that ends the reading for today. Couple things. I just envision that, seeing Jesus in a boat and having the faith to walk on water. I mean, just think about it. Peter literally walked on water until his eyes left Jesus. When his eyes left Jesus, he began to sink. We can in our daily lives, we can see that and feel that. And of course, I mean, we all feeding the all the people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. I mean, that goes back to everybody's heard that one there. Ronnie, any insight before you leave today, brother? Any
Sorry?
insight?
No, I love the parables though in the Bible. And like you said, they are really, really deep lessons that speak in common ways that people can understand. That's why Jesus did it. And all the parables in the Bible are just something that are super cool to explore. So had a good day. Sorry, I got to drop. I got to run. I got to go to this meeting at work. So
Have a great day.
I'll catch you next time. Thanks.
Really love you.
Love you too, brother. Bye.
And Debbie, any insight?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, I just like what you said. Yeah, he was walking across the water and he took his eyes off of Jesus. You know, Mama always told us, keep your eyes on Jesus or you start going down.
Huh?
Have the faith.
Have you ever? I know that I have done this, and my faith has gotten stronger with Jesus Christ as I've gotten older.
Me
But
too.
even in a mud puddle, for some goofy reason, I might say, "Okay, Jesus, I'm fixing to walk on water," and I guess that's the sinner in me. I still sink, but it's we try to be more and more like Jesus every single day. George, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. I don't know if you have a microphone there, if you have any insight in today. I know that there is a chat box somewhere. Yeah, there's a chat box there also. If you have any insight you want to share with us. I'm going to close this here, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. And David, do you mind closing us in prayer?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning with our hearts, Lord. We love you so much, Lord. And we're so blessed to be able to be in this meeting with Fred and our other Christians, Lord. We just thank you, God. And we just want you to keep us covered in your precious blood, Lord. And just to help our country and our world and everyone that's sick, Lord. Just be with each and every one of them. And oh, Heavenly Father, we just love you so much and thank you for everything. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Hey, y'all have a great day. Peace out. Love y'all. Bye-bye. And Debbie.
I know. What? Who knows?
I realized what was happening now. Okay. Yeah, but
Yeah, well, I didn't know if it would work. I got it going on.
so you were listening twice. I love
Oh,
you.
yeah, I love it.
I love you.
I love you more, Bob.